Peters reporting. President Trump has given the Hamas terrorist organization until 12 noon tomorrow to release all Israeli and American hostages it's still holding or face massive military attacks by Israel. On the Salem Media Group news program This Week on Capitol Hill with Tony Perkins, former U.S. Ambassador to Israel David Friedman says President Trump has taken the handcuffs off the Israeli military, unlike during the Biden years.
Yeah, that's a game-changing dynamic. And I think Hamas recognizes that as well. And the only question really is, will they blink? I have my doubts. I mean, they should. Acting as a rational actor, they should blink. Their days are numbered. They're going to be eradicated. They should release all the hostages and use that as a means to find an exit. But that would mean a defeat. And I don't think that they have constitutionally the ability to accept that unless it's forced upon them.
David Friedman's full This Week on Capitol Hill interview will air on radio stations nationwide this weekend, as well as being broadcast at 10 a.m. Eastern Time Saturday on the Salem News Channel. There's new information today about the deadly air collision near Reagan National Airport, January 29th.
The crew of the helicopter that collided midair with the American Airlines jet might not have heard instructions from the air traffic controller to pass behind the plane. National Transportation Safety Board investigators said the recording from the Black Hawk helicopter cockpit suggests the crew may have missed the key instruction just before the collision, in which all 67 aboard the two aircraft were killed. The helicopter was on a check flight that night when the pilot was being tested on the use of night vision goggles and flying by instruments. Investigators believe the crew was wearing night vision goggles throughout the flight. Bill Alexander, Washington.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 165 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Madame Giselle senses something big coming.
Is it a career change?
Everything looks red.
I'm going to be a swim teacher.
There's a roof.
A swim teacher who also does roofing.
No, the roof of your RV has a leak and it's ruining the furniture.
Oh, that's okay. I'm covered by Progressive. But maybe I'm a swim teaching roofer who makes furniture.
Customize your coverage with Progressive's Roof Protection Plus and be prepared for the unexpected. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Roof Protection Plus available for RVs less than 6 years old. $250 deductible applies to any claim. 5.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Wall Street fell short of a record following mixed report profits from big companies. The S&P 500 ended essentially flat. That's a day after rallying within 1/10 of its all-time high set last month. The Dow dipped 0.4%. The Nasdaq Composite added 0.4%. Airbnb rallied after reporting stronger profit than analysts had expected, while Applied Materials fell after giving a forecast for upcoming revenue that fell short of some estimates. Treasury yields eased after reports said sales at U.S. retailers weakened sharply last month. The Dow dropped 165 points to close at 44,546. The Nasdaq gained 81 to 20,026. The S&P 500 dropped less than a point to 6114. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. We're cloudy tonight with a low temperature dipping to 41. Tomorrow, look for mostly cloudy skies, some passing showers, the high temperature topping out at 54. Sunday, just ugly, especially the first half of the day. A 100% chance of rain, very gusty winds up to 35 miles per hour, the high is 65. Have a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
The Point. The Point.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All righty, welcome in, everybody. Great to have you with us on this Friday night. It is Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut, Josh Cohen from our studios in Columbia, from the Berge Palace in beautiful downtown Sardis. It is Chris Bergen joining us here on, some call it Valentine's Day. I call it Men Guilt Day. So whatever it is, I hope you've had a great day, made somebody happy. That's what it's all about, making somebody happy. But what made me happy more than anything else is the start of college baseball season. Oh, it was so nice. I just came over from Ray Tanner Field at Founders Park, and just nice to be outdoors. Beautiful day in Columbia today. Big crowd on hand for the season opener. I'm sure this is the case at college ballparks all across the country, Chris, as we welcome back college baseball here in 2025, a sport that has grown incredibly over the last 20 years in terms of interest and television interest and money and everything else. So it's good to have college baseball back with us.
Well, and let's be fair and not be like every other show around the country. This is not the start of college baseball. It's the start of Division I college baseball, because the D2 programs have been playing for about 2 weeks. JUCO programs have been playing, but in terms of the Division I programs, it is a great day across. And what I like is everybody starts on the same day. You know, college basketball, you get a couple of games early, and then you get a game or two, and then you get a full slate of games on like the Monday, whatever date it is, now that they get started November 4th. But the one thing about today is you could circle your calendar and know that every Division I team is getting started today, and ball games all over the place. And you're right, Phil. I'm not sure there is a sport that has seen the exponential growth in popularity, the amount of money that's pumped into the programs like college baseball. I mean, I don't think we've seen college basketball grow that much over the last 20 years. I mean, viability to be able to watch games has certainly grown. But in terms of, you know, college basketball at North Carolina back in the 80s and 90s was as popular as it is right now. College baseball at South Carolina back in the 80s and 90s was not nearly as popular as it is right now. And I think that's a huge difference. And as much as I hate to say this, I think ESPN probably deserves a lot of credit for that, making the College World Series such a big deal. And now everybody points, it's unlike anything else. The college football playoff, you just want to get in there. There's not a destination. You know, college basketball, you just want to get to the Final Four. It doesn't matter where it is, whether it be in San Antonio or Indianapolis or Las Vegas or whatever the case may be. But college baseball has a stopping off point that everybody points towards. Everybody wants to play in Omaha at the end of the season. And I think that's one of the niceties of college baseball and one thing that makes it so unique.
Well, Clemson has taken that first step. Got a long way to go, but they won a very tight game today. Number 15, Clemson. Number 17, Oklahoma State. Playing out in Arlington, Texas. And the Tigers win it 6-5. They won it in the 7th inning. That's where they took the lead, and they held on from there, winning run scoring on a wild pitch. And then the Tigers handed the baseball to Malstedt, who's an excellent closer, and he went the last 2 innings, did not allow a base runner in those 2 innings, and struck out 2 to pick up the save. Dvorsky got the win for the Tigers behind Canuck and McGovern. Canuck went 4 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, struck out 7, walked 1. He threw 70 pitches, 54 for strikes. This was a game where Clemson, like they did so many times last year, had to come from behind. They were down 3-1. Canuck did give up a couple of home runs. They were down 3-1 after 3, 4-1 after 4. Then they came back and scored 2 in the 5th to make it 4-3. Both teams scored a run in the 6th, and then the Tigers scored those 2 runs in the 7th. I mentioned the winning run coming on a wild pitch. The earlier run came on a ground ball to short, scoring the runner from third. So not exactly knocking the cover off the ball, but the Tigers did get the 2 runs in, and Malstadt made those runs hold up for them. At the plate today, Canarella did not have a hit leading off for the Tigers. Listy had a hit, a couple of runs for him, and Tigers only had 6 hits on the day. So had a couple of doubles. Gaffney had one of the doubles, and Purify had one of the doubles. Had a couple of guys hit by pitch. So not a huge offensive day. I don't know if, Canuck giving up 4 runs. You certainly want your starter to be sharper than that. But back into their bullpen did the job for them today as well. Dvorsky came in. He pitched an inning. He did not give up a base runner. So their bullpen was very, very good today, Chris, after Canuck came out after 4 innings.
It's so funny, and you hate to knock Canuck, if you will, for his effort today. I mean, 7 strikeouts to open up the season, much like Dylan Eskew with, I think, a career-high 9 strikeouts before the Gamecocks pulled him out after 5 innings. But the one negative to the way Aiden Canuck pitches, and we saw this last season, Phil, he had 108 strikeouts for the Tigers last year, but they had to shut him down, you'll remember, late in the season because of overuse. I mean, he struck out 7 today, but threw 70 pitches to do so in just 4 innings because strikeout pitchers, for whatever reason, always seem to have a much higher pitch count than guys who just get ground ball outs. Like, for instance, when McGovern came in, he threw 30 pitches in 2 innings because he got a ground out and a couple of flyouts as part of his repertoire today. But, yeah, it's hard to, as good as Aiden Canuck has been since he stepped on campus at Clemson, I hate to nitpick here. 7 strikeouts and 1 walk, that's a terrific opening day start. You just wish he could probably done it in a little bit better economy of pitches, say around 55 or 60, as opposed to 70 through 4 innings.
Yeah, you're asking a pitcher to do a lot, though, when you're a strikeout pitcher. Pitchers are going to throw – I mean, they're not throwing to contact, so they're not really relying on their defense. They're relying on their own pitching and their own savvy and their own stuff to get people out. So their pitch count is going to be high in a shorter number of innings. I guess that's just sort of expected from a guy that strikes out a lot of people. You mentioned the Gamecocks. I left there a little while ago, and once I left, number one, how can you expect to beat a team on Valentine's Day by the name of Sacred Heart? They picked the wrong opponent on Valentine's Day. All right, that's number one.
Asking a lot.
Yeah, I mean, beating a team named Sacred Heart, but they were up 3-1 when I left. By the time I got to the studio, it's 3-3. So Sacred Heart has tied the game in the top of the 6th. They've got a double for an RBI to score 1 run, and then a single to third base to score another run to make up for that deficit. USC had built a 2-0 lead, and then Sacred Heart scored a run top of the 3rd to make it 2-1. Petrie hit a home run to center, solo shot. That made it 3-1, and then Sacred Heart, I think are they the Pioneers?
They are.
They came back and scored those 2 runs in the 6th. So 3, 6, and 2. They've left 9, Sacred Heart. And South Carolina, 3 runs on 4 hits, no errors. They have left 4 in the game so far today. On the mound, you mentioned SQ, and he was good, 9 strikeouts in 5 innings, 74 pitches, 51 for strikes, 1 earned run, gave up 3 hits. Pitcher came in and got an out, but he also walked 3.
Yeah, he was not very sharp.
Gave up a hit, gave up the 2 runs. So those 3 walks, he gave up 4 base runners there in his short time. That's not good. And then Marlott has come on, given up a couple of hits, 1 1/3 innings for him to this point. Got 3 strikeouts, but he's given up a couple of hits. But he is on the mound now for the Gamecocks. Hall has given the Gamecocks a couple of hits from the leadoff spot. So he's off to a good start offensively. He's the only Gamecock with multiple hits. He only had 4. He's got 2, Petrie's got 1, and Mayshore has got 1. So the Gamecocks only have 4 hits today. They have
a bad habit.
1 double, and they have the home run.
And a bad habit that they got into a lot last year, Phil, and we talked about it throughout the season, their inability to get clutch base hits and hit with runners in scoring position. They are 0 for 9 today with runners on base and 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. It's really hard to win baseball games if you get them on, but you can't drive them in. And the Gamecocks certainly are not doing that. And, of course, as you mentioned, Petrie with the long ball to center field, part of their offense today, but just 4 hits, batting 182 against the team you would think just on the surface South Carolina should be much better than, but clearly not through 6.5 innings now.
Well, keep in mind, they are a Division I baseball team. They won their league last year, and, it's the first game of the year. They're probably throwing their best guy. Or they did throw their best guy, and, they kind of feel like they can come in and win a game. I mean, look, if you lose this one, you got 55 more. It's not the end of the season. You go win the next 2, and you go on from there. But it's a big weekend at South Carolina. Dedication of the field to Ray Tanner. I saw Jackie Bradley Jr. In the stands. Jim Toman was roaming around the press box being Jim Toman. He's looking. They've got a roast. They got a dinner tomorrow night. I think they're kind of turning it into a roast, and Toman's all ready to cut up Ray Tanner tomorrow night. I'd love to be in the room to see that, because that should be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, he told us when he was on with us earlier this week, he said he was looking forward to being in Columbia this weekend. He did not elaborate any further other than being here for the dedication of the field. I did not realize he was also going to get an opportunity to needle his former boss.
Oh,
but yeah, I'm sure he's going to have a good time with that.
Absolutely. Coastal Carolina's leading St. Joseph's 4-1. They are in the top of the 6th inning. They're playing over in Conway. And let's see, no home runs in this one yet for Coastal. They trailed after after the top of the third, 1-0, and then they scored 3 in the bottom of the inning, and then a run in the 4th to lead it 4-1. McKay started, went 2 in the 3rd, couple of hits, walked 4, gave up a run. Johnson is now in. He's gone 2 2/3, a hit, couple of walks, and 4 Ks for him. Meantime, in Charleston, College of shut out VCU. Strong start for the Cougars. They win at 10-0 over Virginia Commonwealth this afternoon. And line score for them, 10 runs on 9 hits, and a couple of errors. They leave 5. VCU, no runs on 5 hits, an error, and they leave 6. And no home runs in the game for the Cougars. So they did it the hard way. Nieves had a couple of hits at the top of the order, and Pendergrass had a couple of hits at the bottom of the order, and they got it done to open the season with a big win.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a dentist. I want to be an engineer.
Making dreams come true starts with making a plan. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to invest in a child's future education so they can chase any dream. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college today at futurescholar.com.
Major Billy Downer here from the Department of Natural Resources, and DNR is excited to announce the implementation of Go Outdoors SC, a new online licensing and boat titling system that you can access right from your phone. Through this new system, customers can purchase their hunting and fishing licenses, renew their boats, apply for lottery hunt opportunities, and complete electronic harvest reporting requirements. For more information, visit Go Outdoors SC at your local app store.
Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosseller-Brown. Did you know Lawyer Lisa offers a prevention plan add-on to our services?
If you already have a trust or just need some updates, ask about getting your ducks in a row and getting all of your wishes set out before it's needed. Visit LawyerLisa.com for more information.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
Hey, you know, football season, well, maybe you know, maybe you don't. Football season is over until the USFL starts up, or whichever that league is, the UFL, whatever it's called now. But there are still plenty of ways to play and win at Underdog Fantasy. Dropping the green flag at Daytona on Sunday, you can place an entry on your favorite drivers like Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott. And don't forget, the World Center of Racing has seen its share of long shots win in the past. You can also play fantasy with college basketball, the NBA, and the PGA Tour. Be sure to visit UnderdogFantasy.com. Register with the promo code SportsTalkBonus. That's SportsTalkBonus, and claim your free pick and your first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. You must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 older in Massachusetts, Arizona, present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, updates. South Carolina and Sacred Heart. I'm telling you, the gods of Valentine's Day working against the Gamecocks here, playing a team called Sacred Heart. 3-3 Gamecocks and Sacred Heart. Gamecocks do have a runner on second with one away. If you want to join us, 888-898-2525, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. To reach us here on Sports Talk, you can text us as well at 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. 4847. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can send us a text message from there as well. We'll answer those text messages if you send those to us as well. Some other baseball.
Fantasy. I wonder if Underdog Fantasy has an over-under as to whether or not Chase Briscoe and or Austin Cindric will be in first and second place after the second lap of the Daytona 500.
Well,
my guess is going to be no.
I think that I think Briscoe in particular has run very well since they got there. I mean, I think his speed is for real. From what I've been reading. So he might be a guy that can, of course, those who start at the front oftentimes don't finish at the front, but there's so many things that happen with the draft and falling out and catching back up. There's not really, there's two ways of thinking about it. Be up front at the start, build yourself a cushion, get away from everybody who's going to wreck behind you, or stay behind, lag behind, stay out of trouble, and then make a run at the end. So a couple of ways of looking at it. We'll have Jeff with us tonight, Jeff Owens, in the Fast Lane to talk just about that.
No, I'm looking forward to that. And you saw where they've moved the start time for the 500 up to 1:30 on Sunday because of forecasted rain down in Daytona on Sunday.
I did not see that. Appreciate you sharing. Let me give you some more baseball. LSU 14-0, a winner over Purdue. Fort Wayne, Oklahoma beat Lehigh 11-3, and Old Dominion and Georgia Tech are 2-2. They're in the 8th. Charleston Southern leading Miami of Ohio 8-3 in the 8th. Wofford 10-1 over Ohio. Bottom of the 8th. Ole Miss leading Arizona 2-1. That is after 8. And it is NC State 10-2 over Fordham. That's after 7. Tennessee 8-0 over Hofstra in the 6th. Florida State beating James Madison 3-0, top of the 5th. Lipscomb leading Kentucky 3-0, bottom of the 6th. We've got Arkansas 3-1 over Washington State in the 4th. Alabama 6-3 over Bradley in the 4th. Presbyterian and Georgetown after 1. They are 4-4. They have a second game to play as well. 4-4. Georgetown had 7 hits in the first. I'm sorry. Both teams had 7 hits. Both teams had 7 hits, according to this. That was one long inning.
Oh, my goodness.
And let's see if we have anything else here. That is Marist is leading Wake Forest 1-0. And that's where we stand on the baseball right now. Now, last night, USC women did what you would expect them to do coming off a loss, and that was to pound whoever was going to be in front of them next. That happened to be poor old Florida, and they got crushed, 101-63. They scored 36 points in the first quarter. That's a high mark for them in a quarter all season. They cut Joyce Edwards loose and said, go get it. She had 28 points in 19 and a half minutes. So she was spectacular. Also in double figures, Tahina Paupau, she had 14. Malaysia Fulwiley had 13. And Sanaya Fagan had 10 for the Gamecocks, who shot the 3-ball pretty well last night. They were 8 of 25. They also were very good from the line, 21 of 22. So now they get ready for UConn on Sunday afternoon in Columbia. And UConn's got 3 losses. They're ranked 7th. This will be an interesting one of the interesting one-on-one matchups if it comes into play, which I'm sure it will at some point, will be Edwards against the outstanding freshman from UConn, Strong, who was the highly recruited player. Parents are from South Carolina. Both parents were great basketball players, and she's having a great year with UConn. Of course, they still have Paige Beckers, and UConn is UConn. They got terrific players. So this will be, the Gamecocks have lost. And by the way, Southern Cal beat UCLA last night out west in their showdown.
Had to come back to do so.
Yeah.
Dominated the fourth quarter to win that game.
So, I mean, top teams are knocking off each other here a little bit. UCLA gets their first loss. Gamecocks have 2 losses to 2 teams that were ranked, in the top 5 when they played them. So, I don't know. What do you think about this thing with UConn in this matchup?
I think it's tremendous. You look up and down the lineup. AZ Fudd is back as well for UConn. She's been dealing with injuries, as has Paige Beckers. They've got what appears to be their full complement ready to go. And, of course, the Gamecocks are nearly impossible to beat at home. I think it's going to be a great game on Sunday. And obviously the national pundits think so as well. I think this is the return trip for game day since they couldn't work it out with LSU. They're going to be in town on Sunday. So obviously it is to me, Phil, the best now non-conference rivalry in all of women's basketball. I mean, you look around the landscape, there aren't many. It's not like the Gamecocks and UCLA play all that often. LSU and pick somebody. I mean, they don't have somebody, I think, outside the SEC that they're obviously Carolina and LSU and the SEC is probably the best rivalry. But in terms of a national game, this is it right here for the women's game.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's about as good as you're going to get in the regular season. So that'll be a hot ticket, be a hot crowd over there at South Carolina. And it might be the only thing going on because the baseball game could be weather-wise in jeopardy on Sunday. So we'll see what comes of that. Over to the stadium, and the Gamecocks have scored a run. They have taken a 4-3 lead. They scored a run, bottom of the 7th. Kazmar, the transfer shortstop from Ohio State, with a single up the middle to score the go-ahead run, and we'll be back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. We're cloudy tonight with a low temperature dipping to 41. Tomorrow, look for mostly cloudy skies, some passing showers, the high temperature topping out at 54. Sunday, just ugly, especially the first half of the day. A 100% chance of rain, very gusty winds up to 35 miles per hour, the high is 65. Have a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
Floorboys has done it again. If you love your pets but not the damage they do to your floors, you have got to see Floorboys and their exclusive to South Carolina line of pet-perfect luxury vinyl plank. Protect your floors from the 4 Ps, the poop, the pee, the puke, and the paws. They even have it in carpet form, so protect your floors from the 4 Ps. Visit floorboys.com or check out the exclusive Pet Perfect line at their showroom, 1728 North Lake Drive, just off the Lake Murray Dam.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting President Trump has signed an executive order formally creating a National Energy Dominance Council and directed it to drive up already record-setting domestic oil and gas production. Trump's administration on Friday also granted conditional export authorization for a huge liquefied natural gas project in Louisiana. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country wants security guarantees before any talks to end the Ukraine-Russia war. Zelensky made his remarks Friday during a highly anticipated meeting with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance at the Munich Security Conference. Shortly before sitting down with Vance, Zelensky said he will only agree to meet in person with Russian leader Vladimir Putin after a common plan is negotiated with President Trump. More details at srnnews.com.
People hear me talking about Broker Solar and how much I like Ken and his team. They ask, hey, can I really trust this guy, Kev? Let me tell you 2 things. Number 1, Ken and Broker Solar are legit. I've known Ken's family for 20 plus years. Seriously, these are local, ethical people. They're not going anywhere and they do things the right way. Number 2, Broker Solar is so different than these stereotypes we've heard about in the solar industry. There's no signs on the yard making stupid promises they can't keep. There's no door knockers trying to pressure you at your own door. Ken and Broker Solar will tell you the truth, what it'll cost, and how your solar power investment will pay off. See, we can't pick our power companies. Broker Solar gives you a chance to take some control over your power bill, and I like that, and so should you. Online, it's brokersolar.com, and seriously, reach out to Ken and these folks. It could really make a difference in your quality of life. Brokersolar.com, empowering you so you're not powerless.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Hun, did you see the power bill? I feel like we're trying to cool the outside with these old original windows from the house.
Yeah, they are old. They let the cool air out and the hot air in, plus they're really ugly. I think it's time we finally get those new windows.
I think we need to call Redbird Windows and Doors.
Oh yeah, think of the Miller's house up the street.
I got their card when I was talking to the Millers. Here it is, Redbird Windows and Doors, 727-0561. Oh, and let's look at their website too, redbirdwindows.com.
Give me that number again, please.
727-0561.
One of the great things about living in South Carolina is we can do things outdoors almost year-round. Is it time for a new screened-in porch from All Southern Construction? They do all sorts of outdoor work, from repairs and renovations to remodels and construction. Need that new deck or the porch enclosed to keep the bugs out? They're a family-owned business. They're professional, insured, clean, and they stand by their work. Online, it's allsouthernconstruction.com, or please call them now at 206-4816. That's 206-4816.
When you've served the Midlands for more than 80 years, you're obviously doing something right. Groucho's Deli has 8 Midlands locations and for decades holds the title of Best Sandwich, Best Salad, Best Sweet Tea, Best Fast Lunch, Best Bang for Your Buck, Best Deli. Well, you get the idea. Order online at Grouchos.com and on the Groucho's app for fast, convenient, and friendly pickup. And sign up for the Groucho's Rewards and Birthday Brownie Club.
touchdowns to three-point shots. We've got it all, tying the knots, bringing you the latest scoop. Sports Talks, the absolute truth. Sports Talks, the place to be. From the court to the field, we're breaking news free. Join the team, follow X for more.
Okay, we're back. It is Sports Talk on a Friday night. Happy Valentine's Day to one and all. Great to have you with us. Phone number 888-898-2525. If you want to chime in on what we're talking about, update from South Carolina. Gamecocks now bottom of the 8th. They are leading 4-3 after taking the lead just a moment ago. And Marlott remains on the mound for the Gamecocks, pitching well. He's now gone 2 2/3. He's thrown 45 pitches. He struck out 5. So I wonder if they stick with him in the 9th or if they have somebody else in mind to be a closer. I guess we'll find out here in just a little bit. I'm sure Paul Maneri would like to have a insurance run or two added. I mean, it'd be a shame to open up your career at a new place and lose the opening game. But again, playing a team called Sacred Heart on Valentine's Day, things are kind of stacked against you there, I think. I think the mojo is definitely against the Gamecocks in this case.
I would think so. But wouldn't it be worse to lose tomorrow? You can't dedicate Ray Tanner Field for the baseball team and lose. I mean, they've got to win tomorrow. So, yeah, you're right. The team's up against a little pressure to open the season. They need to win today in Maneri's debut, but you can't lose tomorrow when you dedicate the field to Ray Tanner.
That's true. And, of course, in the minds of the fans, you can't lose any day, period.
Sure. You've got to go 56-0.
No matter what you're doing. All right, basketball tomorrow. Of course, South Carolina goes to Florida to play the third-ranked Gators. They got some news out of Florida, and Todd Golden, he told reporters down there that Alex Condon with an ankle, Sam Alexis, undisclosed injury, they're both out. Condon will likely miss a week or two. Also, Elijah Martin with a hip is questionable, but Micah
Hanlogden,
the big guy, the 7'1" center, he's not played since March of last year with a leg injury. He's going to return, make his season debut against the Gamecocks tomorrow.
I think they were hoping to redshirt him, Phil, but with all the injuries they're starting to deal with, I guess Todd Golden said, we've got to take that red shirt off. We need him in there. He's a tremendous player. Reason I know his last name so well is he played at Marshall last year before transferring to Florida, 2 years ago, I guess, before transferring to Florida. So we got to see him when he was with Coastal. Very, very good player and a skilled big. That will certainly add to Florida's inside game, which doesn't need a whole lot of help. But with the injuries, I'm guessing that's what they're thinking. They've got to get him back out there.
He averaged 5 points and about 7 rebounds a game last season. West Ashley has their new head football coach, Rashad Graham. He's only 29. He was defensive coordinator at Boiling Springs. So from the upstate to the low country. And Boiling Springs had a really good team last year, so he's going to get his shot being the head coach there at West Ashley. You mentioned, now I wonder if this is going to change. Trump is supposed to be at the 500 Sunday. I wonder with the new time if that's going to impact that at all. But right, according to, I guess, the White House, he's planning to attend the Daytona 500.
Boy, it's good to be the president, isn't it? Get to go to the Super Bowl last Sunday, and then get to go to the Super Bowl of motorsports and the Daytona 500 this weekend. You remember he was there several years ago during his first term, and he drove or at least rode around in the presidential motorcade around the track. Remember they called that big thing he rides in the Beast. I wonder if they'll break that back out for him too.
That's funny. I'm sure they'll do some fancy stuff and get him out there on display. All right, what else we got? This was interesting. PFF College, very highly regarded, I would say, right? PFF College.
Mm-hmm.
So they put out a list they call the top 10 returning quarterbacks in college football. Number 1 Cade Klubnik. Number 2, Sam Levitt from Arizona State. Number 3, Carson Beck, now at Miami. What a story for Carson Beck, man. Goes from, like, nowhere to a star at Georgia, and now he's going to go make big money at Miami with a chance to maybe win the ACC. 4th, Drew Allar from Penn State. 5th, Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. 6th, Arch Manning of Texas. I would like to see Arch Manning maybe play a game before he gets all these accolades, but I guess people are just riding on his potential. I know he's played a little bit here and there. 7th, DJ Lagway of Florida. 8th, Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt. 9th, Nico Iamaleava from Tennessee. And 10th, Kevin Jennings of SMU. Honorable mention, Taylon Green of Arkansas. So no Lenora Sellers, PFF, returning quarterbacks top 10, and Klubnik is number 1. What do you think?
I'm not necessarily. I don't think I have a problem with Cade Klubnik being ranked inside the top 2 or 3. I don't know if he's number 1, but he's certainly in the discussion. The one I have an issue with is how in the world Lenora Sellers is behind Diego Pavia. Is Pavia's ranking based solely on his one performance in the win over Alabama, and then him being able to successfully sue the NCAA for another year?
Yeah. I mean, seriously. Yeah. Yep. A couple of other things. 888-898-2525 is the phone number. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number from On3, citing an anonymous source, SEC personnel staffer, telling Pete Nakos the teams who spent the most money on their transfer portal John class: Auburn, Michigan, Ole Miss, Texas, and Texas Tech spent the most money on their transfer portal John class. So it says here that, of course, we got another 10-day spring window officially opening in 62 days, and dollars are driving the transfer portal, as you might expect. And they talk to different anonymous sources. Like one ACC personnel staffer said South Carolina, they included South Carolina, in their opinion or their knowledge, is spending the most money on the portal class. Someone from an SEC NIL collective said Clemson spent a good amount of money on the guys that they're bringing in. So depending on who you talk to, I guess you get different answers. This is the same story in which they said Lenora Sellers, that one source from an SEC NIL collective said that Lenora Sellers could have made easily over $3 million if he had gone into the transfer portal, John. So don't know about all that, but it's good for South Carolina to have a quarterback who's that locked in and wants to stay with the team and help them, they hope, achieve greatness next year. And the expectations, I think the over-under for the Gamecocks has been put at like 6.5. That's like double what it was last year. I mean, they tripled. The over and under last year, as I recall, was like 3.5. And they ended up winning 9 games. So if they go beyond at the same percentage, I mean, they're going to have a great year in 2025. I mean, they're talking 10 or 11 wins, but that means you're going to have to beat the elite of the elite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they did some of that this past season, as we well know. But they can't, like Virginia Tech to open the season. You got to beat Virginia Tech to open the season. You should beat Virginia Tech. I would have the Gamecocks favored to beat Virginia Tech in that game in Atlanta. And you got to take care of the ones that you can get, and then go steal a game on the road somewhere. I mean, you got to beat Clemson at home. You got to beat Alabama at home. The road schedule for the Gamecocks next year, I think, as imposing as this past season's schedule looked, I think this one coming up is going to be even more imposing because they got to go to Missouri, they got to go to Ole Miss, they got to go to A&M, and they got to go to who's that?
LSU.
LSU, yeah. They got 4 kind of lengthy road trips,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all good teams.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's a little – as it turned out last year, they went to Alabama. They almost won. And Alabama was really good. They went to Oklahoma and, of course, mopped them up. And Oklahoma turned out to be just, a mess. They were a mess last year. You figure they're going to bounce back, but you get them at home. They went to Clemson and beat them. And that wasn't – that obviously wasn't easy, and that was an impressive road win for them. So they did a really good job with that road schedule last year. Who else? They beat Kentucky on the road.
Kentucky.
On the road.
That's sort of –
And Kentucky didn't turn out to be – at the time, that was viewed as a great win.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
But we know that Kentucky turned out not to be a very good team as the season wore on, though they almost beat Georgia very early on as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my point is the Gamecocks were very impressive on the road last year.
I think they played some of their best, if not the best, games all year away from home. You can sort of piecemeal together, I guess. Especially, it's hard to overlook their most dominating performance at Oklahoma was on the road.
Yeah.
Now, that game got out of hand so fast, it made it look easy for them. But, yeah, the Kentucky game, I think the Kentucky game sort of gave them the confidence, even though we didn't know what Kentucky would be as the season moved along. But them going in there and just manhandling Kentucky the way they did, I think proved to everybody in that locker room what Shane Beamer and his staff had tried to tell them throughout the preseason. You guys can be really good, and I think that Kentucky game proved it to them.
Well, I think it introduced the country to the best pair of rush defensive ends in the country,
Good
maybe.
point.
Because up until that, they hadn't seen much of them up to that point. All of a sudden, they go to Kentucky, and it's like a convention in the backfield. And the Kentucky tackles and offensive line in general, I mean, they look totally lost trying to block those guys. Okay, the Gamecocks have added another run. They're up 5-3, corners with 2 outs, bottom of the 8th. Be right back.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
Relax. Start your journey with a new auto loan. Get on the road with an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union. From city streets to off-road trails, your journey begins here. Our low fixed rates can get you on the road in a ride that fits your lifestyle and budget with no payments for up to 90 days. You can apply for a pre-approved spending limit even before you start shopping. Visit one of our many convenient office locations or go to foundersfcu.com/auto to apply for an auto loan today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I'm not a case manager. I'm a lawyer for over 35 years. I don't charge 40% for your injury in your rec case or any on-the-job injury. Call 803-765-2968 and ask for Jim Corbett or email me, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, for the experience of a lawyer handling your injury case. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968. Jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Put 35 years of experience to work on your injury case.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot, and the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, The Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
But I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling?
We're on the mood for love. On the mood for love, or, honey, take out the trash. Men's Guilt Day. Or Valentine's Day, however you want to look at it. I saw something else. Somebody's already, what was that day they were calling it yesterday? Galentine's Day. Yeah. You see that?
Galentine's Day?
Like Galentine's Day.
Huh.
You know, somebody's
Have not
always
seen
got to
that.
come up with something of their own. What we've got today that's been good enough for 100 and something years is not good enough for some people. So they came up with Galentine's Day, which, of course, leads to the idea of Manentine's Day. I mean, where is something for the man?
Broentine's.
Broentine's Day.
I think that's actually called Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Which, by the way, I saw this today. Super Bowl Sunday of 2027 will be on February 14th.
How about that?
Mm-hmm. Because I guess today's a Friday. So next year, Valentine's Day will be on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And then the year after, it'll be on Sunday. Unless a leap year jumps in there somewhere and throws it off schedule. But apparently not. Apparently in 27, Valentine's Day is on the 14th, which will be Super Bowl Sunday. All right, top of the ninth, South Carolina leading Sacred Heart 5-3. Sweeney. The Gamecocks have called on a Sweeney.
Dabo?
Not Dabo. It's another Sweeney. They've called on another Sweeney to close it out. They're up 5-3. This is Brendan Sweeney, the Gamecocks' fourth pitcher of the game. So he is trying to close it out. Gamecocks are leading 5-3 with one out in the top of the ninth. Here's a little bit from Dawn Staley after the win last night. The Gamecocks rolled it up on the Florida Gators to bounce back from that loss to Texas and to sort of get their mojo right for the game coming up Sunday against UConn. Here's Dawn Staley talking to the media after the game.
Dawn, the four-guard lineup again shows, but Joyce is in there, and obviously she's getting turnovers, running the floor. Was that something that y'all wanted to do specifically for this game, or just, hey, let's put Joyce out there and see how it works?
No, I mean, foul trouble made us do it, and I mean, it might be a lineup we have to utilize if teams are going to go small on us. So we might as well get a little bit of practice in it, and we only utilized it today because of Fagan and Chloe's foul trouble.
Powell said after Texas that she needed to be a better leader. I was just wondering if you could provide some insight about kind of her leadership style, maybe if it looked any different in the last couple of days, and I guess are there any aspects of the game on or off the court that you tend to lean on her for?
I think Powell's a winner. Powell wants to win, and her time here at South Carolina, she's only lost 2 games, and they surely didn't feel good. So I think this is her last go around, and she wants to make sure that she's giving it her all. She's giving this team what it needs when it needs it. No, I didn't. I don't. I mean, she said it as part of when you decompress and you just kind of break down what happened in the game, and she feels like her leadership is needed. I felt like her scoring was needed, just her giving her some easy looks, getting the ball to go down, and I thought she shook off some stuff because she got a couple of threes to go down, and it was good for that to happen. So, along with her wanting to be a better leader and giving our team what it needs.
Staying on the topic of Powell, she opened the scoring for the game and then either scored or assisted on 12 of the next 14 points. How much does her performing well alter the flow and pace of the offense?
She's an elevator. Like, she elevates our team. You know, when Powell hits a three, it seems to kind of allow all of us to excel because she's been that potent for us from an offensive standpoint. And we almost, in the Texas game, we were just kind of willing her shots to go in because we know what that means. And she's a playmaker. She's one that we want the ball in her hands. We want her coming off screens. We want her playmaking for us, along with putting the ball in the hole, especially outside of three, but just also facilitating. So, Powell became, Powell just took more of an effort to play make today, and we need that.
This is twice now with Iowa State, and tonight you come out of a loss with maybe one of your better first quarters the whole season. Is it just as simple as a loss gets you refocused, or is something else that goes into responding to a loss the way you guys have both times?
I don't know. I told somebody this earlier. We win and we lose at the time that we need to. Like, simply. We respond when we don't play well and win. Like, there are things that we, dissect because we know that if you play the way that you played in a win, but you didn't play well, it could hurt you somewhere else down the line. So we do talk about those things, and we just wanted to get back in the win column, just to feel good, to get back to some normalcy when it comes to playing the style of play we need to play on both sides of the ball. We still got a little bit of work to do, but I don't think it'll be a lack of focus or energy or effort with who we have coming in here on Sunday.
Dawn, you knew coming in Joyce was a terrific player, and did you ever worry that she would be ready to take on this kind of role with you guys? Because obviously if Ash didn't get hurt, there'd be less opportunity there, but she's really risen to the occasion.
With someone that works as hard and studies as hard, I'm just talking about the game. This is who she is as a human being. Like, she wants to be the very best at everything that she does, and she doesn't lack the work ethic to do it. So, am I surprised? No. Would we come out the gate and say, you have to be this in the very beginning? No, it develops. And I think she's a really good person that is regimented in how she does things, which is really a gift, right? And then I think in other ways, she needs to kind of loosen up because everything doesn't materialize like like your preparation. So she's got to be in all places and just kind of, improve in those areas in the game. Like, she'll know what her defender's doing or her players doing on either side of the ball. And if they decided not to be there or go there, Joyce is still going to be in her spot where she looked at it and she saw it. So she has to get better in those instances, and she will. And we'll point them out to her because she's a great film watcher. She always wants to see where she can get better. So, this is par for the course for a player, of her study habits, her habits.
All right, Dawn Staley in South Carolina beats Sacred Heart 5-3. Brendan Sweeney saves the day for the Gamecocks. Sweeney wins it for the game. Spells it differently. He's got 2 E's. He's a JC transfer. Anyway, he got the save. Be right back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Chinese-owned TikTok is returning to app stores.
TikTok has returned to the app stores of Apple and Google in the U.S. This follows President Trump delaying the enforcement of the TikTok ban. TikTok is operated by Chinese technology firm ByteDance. It was removed from the Apple and Google app stores last month to comply with a law that requires ByteDance to divest the app or be banned in the U.S. TikTok suspended its service in the U.S. for less than a day before restoring it following assurances from Trump that he would postpone banning the app. TikTok has more than 170 million American users. I'm Mike Hempel.
There's been a drone attack on the damaged nuclear plant Chernobyl in Ukraine.
Ukraine's president says a Russian drone with a high explosive warhead has struck the protective shell of the Chernobyl nuclear reactor. Zelensky said that the strike damaged the structure and started a fire which has been put out. Ukrainian emergency service footage showed the moment of the impact and the damage to the confinement, including interiors of the shell being hosed down with water following the strike. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov denied the Ukrainian claims that it was responsible. The UN and Ukraine said that radiation levels at the plants have not increased despite the strike. I'm Karen Chemas.
President Trump has signed an executive order formally creating a National Energy Dominance Council and directed it to drive up already record-setting domestic oil and gas production. Trump's administration on Friday also granted conditional export authorization for a huge liquefied natural gas project in Louisiana. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 165 points, the Nasdaq rose 81. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
April breeze, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
For many out on the streets with no address, when the hope dies, it's hard to be found.
You get these people off our streets now.
It's not that simple. They're human beings. Where are they meant to go?
Homelessness could happen to anyone.
I don't know how much longer I can do this.
Their story is our story.
You never know in life why things work out the way they do. Never give up.
No Address, starring William Baldwin, Ashanti, and Ty Pennington. In theaters February 28th. Get your tickets at noaddressmovie.com.
Eyeball.
Wall Street falls short of a record as the Dow retreated, the S&P just missed a record, and the Nasdaq rose. More on the day's activity from correspondent Seth Sutel.
Wall Street edged back from an all-time high following some mixed profit reports from big companies. The S&P 500 barely budged on Friday, came a day after the index rallied to within 0.1% of the record high it set last month. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dipped 165 points. It's about 0.4%. The Nasdaq Composite rose about 0.4%. Airbnb rallied more than 14% after the company reported stronger profit for its latest quarter than analysts had expected. Applied Materials fell about 8%. Treasury yields eased in the bond market. The government reported that sales at retailers weakened much more sharply last month than expected. Seth Sutel, New York.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. We're cloudy tonight with a low temperature dipping to 41. Tomorrow, look for mostly cloudy skies, some passing showers, the high temperature topping out at 54. Sunday, just ugly, especially the first half of the day. A 100% chance of rain, very gusty winds up to 35 miles per hour, the high is 65. Have a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm Cal Moss with your Armed Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
The Point. The Point.
back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we welcome you back to Sports Talk on this Friday night. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, Josh Cohen, all with you. Hope you had a great day, beautiful day here in the Midlands. I imagine across most of South Carolina, it was very nice, setting us up for a lousy weather weekend, from what I understand.
Yep.
So I hope you enjoyed it today, because it's supposed to stink over the weekend. So the baseball will be threatened through many parts of the state over the weekend. In fact, I saw where I think College of Charleston, after winning today, they're going to play 2 tomorrow against, I guess it's VCU, because of the threat of the rain.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina, as I understood it, being there earlier, and by the way, the Gamecocks did finish off Sacred Heart, bless their little hearts, 5-3, and it was Parker Marlott getting the win. He's 1-0. Brendan Sweeney, he gets the save. His first save of the year, of course. Gamecocks scoring a run in the 7th, an insurance run in the 8th to break open a tie game. 5-7-0 for the Gamecocks. They left 7, 3-6-3 for the Pioneers, and they left 10. Nathan Hall went 2 for 4 for the Gamecocks in his debut. He was the only player with multiple hits. Henry Kazmar had a hit. Ethan Petrie had a home run. Kennedy Jones also had a base hit. Nolan Naraki had a, well, you know what? This has got a Clemson flavor. You got a Sweeney saving it, and 2 former Tigers combined for 3 hits for the Gamecocks. So off to a good start is South Carolina. Off to a good start is Clemson after rallying to beat Oklahoma State today. Excuse me, 6-5, that final score out in Arlington, Texas. So, and we had a couple of run rule games as well today.
Yeah, Coastal just finished off St. Joseph's 11-1 in 7 innings, scoring 6 times into 6 to pretty much break open what was a fairly tight game through the middle portions down in Conway. And then the College of Charleston, what was it, 10-0 over VCU a bit earlier today?
Yeah. So, got the offense, got the bats going early on. We got recruiting coming up for you. By the way, that home run by Petrie, the home run tracker, 403 feet, a launch angle of 29.7, exit velo of 108. Chicks,
I'm glad you got the launch angle
ball
in there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm most interested in.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Is launch angle now on hitters.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, every sport's got to have their metrics to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just adds to the satisfaction, I guess, of following the sport. Yeah, chicks dig the long. But yeah, I saw that commercial that Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine did way back in the 80s. Guess it was the 80s, or maybe the 90s. 90s? Chicks dig the long
it's
ball.
Been a while.
Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I saw that.
I do.
Somebody put that on Twitter. What a great commercial. What a great commercial it was. A couple of things, and then we'll get to recruiting. The National Labor Relation Board's new general counsel under President Trump rescinded the prior GC's memo under President Biden, finding college athletes are employees under the NLRA. The Dartmouth and Southern Cal petitions were withdrawn because they knew this was coming. Employment will be decided by the courts. Okay? So, another step in whatever direction we're headed in with all of this, but that's another step there. And Jordan Kay from the state, he does a great job, he wrote a story yesterday about South Carolina's financial year last year. Not this year, but last year, looking at their numbers. And I guess there's nothing really shocking in there. I mean, football makes the most money, spends the most money. I think what would surprise a lot of people is women's basketball operates at a $5.1 million loss. Despite, of course, the success of the team, the ticket sales, and all that, they don't get, I guess, from a budgeting standpoint, a lot of that money that comes in, TV money, I guess it doesn't go towards the women's basketball program. And it shows them
Phil,
as running as a $5.1 million deficit.
Yeah, and remember the TV contract for the women's game was so bad, and they redid it, I think, after this past NCAA tournament, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe this NCAA tournament was the first with the new deal where teams were going to make a whole lot more money. So you would think that discrepancy in cost versus revenue will decrease considerably. And also keep in mind, they pay a healthy salary to Dawn Staley, so that weighs into that, I would imagine. The one thing that surprised me the most, though, was how much money football made, considering how expensive that sport is to run.
I think the key thing here is, and this is something that Ray Tanner, I think, always prided himself on, and that is they stayed in the black. Or if they were running a deficit, it wasn't very much. They spent, according to this story, $183.6 million in fiscal year 24, and they reported a deficit of just under $200,000. So basically they broke even. I guess that's close enough to where you identify it as breaking even. And this fiscal year 24 only includes the 23 football season where the Gamecocks had a losing season. Still, the football program profited nearly $31 million. That's a $5 million increase over the previous year. And, you know, ticket sales, of course, were up with the excitement with Beamer, and I guess more television revenue from the SEC probably played a part in that. The says here the big money maker was the game against North Carolina in Charlotte that brought in over $3 million. So I guess the money they didn't spend at home, they took home $3 million from that, and that goes on the positive side of the ledger. They made over $5.2 million from food, concessions, parking, novelties, game programs. That's up $2 million from the previous year. Let's see what else jumps up at me here. Men's basketball was the only other program to make money. $3.5 million surplus. Women's basketball ran a $5.6 million deficit. And combining media rights, compensation, and the NCAA tournament distribution, the men's basketball team collected almost $7.3 million. The women, which do not earn any money from media rights, made under $400,000 in the same categories. And so that is something, of course, that Dawn Staley's arguing about, that this has got to be evened up in her world. She's got to see the women. In fact, she was asked last night by the writer from the Greenville News about now that the Department of Education, I think it was Department of Education, they rescinded that information about Title IX when it comes to the $20.5 million that's going to be shareable beginning on July 1st. And Title IX, the new ruling is Title IX does not have to come into play in the divvying up of that money. And, you know, the answer to her response to the question about that was, you know, we want our share, or she's hoping or expecting that women's basketball at South Carolina and across the country will get their share of that pie. I think in some places they will, in some places they won't. Probably at South Carolina they will. I can pretty much tell you for a cold, hard fact at Clemson they won't. So we'll see. Other places will address it as they see fit.
And with that, if you're Sean Poppy, a young coach trying to establish yourself, realizing that you're not going to be playing on an even playing field, how long do you stay at a place like Clemson if they're not going to pump in money to your program and give you a legitimate shot to contend in an ACC, which is awfully difficult to begin with, and certainly in a state where you can't compete right now?
Yeah. Well, they won last night. They beat Georgia Tech.
That's a good win for them, yeah.
Second win over a top 20 team for them this year. But look, South Carolina is just an unusual – it's one of the unusual situations in the country where women's basketball takes a front seat, not a back seat, in the minds of the administration and the minds of the fans, and they're willing to pay. They're willing to pay their coach $4 million, even if it means helping, contributing to a deficit of 5.6. They feel like it's worth it. They got a statue out there for their greatest player ever, and they got banners. They got banners galore.
They got plenty of those.
So, what's the trade-off? All right, let's get to the recruiting report tonight here on Sports Talk. It is brought to you by our good friends over at Seawells. And if you're planning that special event coming up this spring or summer, or maybe you're making plans for the fall, then let Seawells handle all the difficult planning and the difficult cooking and the difficult presentation. None of that is easy. You need skilled, talented, thoughtful people to make it happen, and that is what Seawells is all about. Their phone number is 803-771-7385 and online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. And don't forget the daily luncheon buffet will be back on Tuesday. Checked in on running back Jalen McGill, 5'10", 200 of Mountain View Prep, who decommitted from Rutgers. Surprised people when he committed to Rutgers back in January. He decommitted earlier this week. Basically, he said he had a spiritual awakening is how he put it to us. And he's just following his faith. And so he's looking for something else. And he's looking for a big opportunity. He said the NIL is what drives him. It's not what he's looking for. He's not worried about the money. He says the money will come. He says you ball out and the money comes. So he's not worried about that. But he wants to be the man. As he puts it, he wants to be the man with the plan. So he wants to play early. He says if you want somebody to come burst onto the scene and instantly impact your program, then holler at J-Mac. That's his nickname, J-Mac. Duke hollered at McGill Thursday night and made him an offer. He talked Wednesday with Georgia Tech, which had previously offered. He's been offered by USC, but he says he's not heard from them since he decommitted. So I don't know if they're going to be interested, if they're going to follow up. He would like to hear from them, but he says if they're not interested, then don't waste his time, and vice versa. If they're not interested in following up with him, he'll move on to something else. Some of the other offers that he posted prior to his Rutgers commitment included Tennessee, Texas, Florida, Auburn, Florida State, Alabama, and Georgia. He's been one of the most productive running backs in the country the past 3 seasons, first at Broome and last season at MVP. 6,500 total yards, 91 touchdowns, 48-27 rushing, 1,104 receiving, and 574 in return yards. So I know South Carolina and Clemson are looking at some running backs, and they might have some other guys higher up on their lists, but it might behoove them to take a closer look at this situation and see what they've got here in Jalen McGill. A couple of other notes. Women's basketball, South Carolina target Jordan Jackson visiting Ohio State in March, Alabama in April, and she has been to Maryland. Offensive tackle Carter Scruggs, Leesburg, Virginia, has set an official visit to Clemson for May 30th. And South Carolina target, defensive tackle Brian Harris, was offered by Penn State. And South Carolina commitment, cornerback Peyton Dyer, has sent officials to Southern Cal June 6th, Georgia June 13th. He's got USC on June 20th. USC target, linebacker Nick Abrams, was offered by Michigan. There you go. Recruiting report tonight here on Sports Talk. We got Jeff Owens warming up his engine in the fast lane. We talk Daytona after the break.
Major Billy Downer here from the Department of Natural Resources, and DNR is excited to announce the implementation of Go Outdoors SC, a new online licensing and boat titling system that you can access right from your phone. Through this new system, customers can purchase their hunting and fishing licenses, renew their boats, apply for lottery hunt opportunities, and complete electronic harvest reporting requirements. For more information, visit Go Outdoors SC at your local app store.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I'm not a case manager. I'm a lawyer for over 35 years. I don't charge 40% for your injury in your wreck case or any on-the-job injury. Call 803-765-2968 and ask for Jim Corbett, or email me, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, for the experience of a lawyer handling your injury case. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968. jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Put 35 years of experience to work on your injury case.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
George Bryant here with Tsunami Bar Sports, and wow, Tsunami Robbie, there is now an amazing technology that you can use when you train receiving large game without having to endure pain. Please explain.
George, that is the magic combination. I have 3 simple words to define that entire concept. Stimulation, not annihilation. Regardless of your training goals, there is a level of stimulation that is optimal for your desired gains. Tsunami Bar's flexible bar technology meets these demands because the user determines the level of stimulation with the amount of speed and force they impart into the bar or training device.
Hey, this is Phil Kornblut. The Tsunami Bar is a terrific training device, whether you're working on your fitness or your golf game. It's convenient, it's easy to use, and you won't feel beat up afterwards. Be sure to click on the digital ad on SportsTalkSC.com and get 5% off any order using promo code BBB5. Don't wait. Order today.
Love it when it's 4 wide. Love it when it's fast. Love it when the leader's caught, the pack is moving past. Love it when they're making lots and lots of noise. Can't wait to hear these W's say. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys. Love it when they're drafting. Love it when they slide. Love it when the back's straight, the throttle's open wide. Love it when they're making lots and lots of noise. Can't wait to hear these W's say.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Racing boys.
Let's go racing, boys. You know, Pat used to sing this all the time. Let's go racing, boys. For real. Racing for real. This time at Daytona. Weather permitting, we welcome in Jeff Owens to the fast lane here on Sports Talk. As we go to Jeff, they do have some practicing going on today at Daytona. And looks like Denny Hamlin's got the fastest time so far. Let's see here. Denny Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, who seem to be the top ones right now, as we welcome Jeff into the program. What'd you make of the racing last night? What'd you take away from last night that we will see on Sunday?
Well, good racing, I thought, Phil, for a qualifying race. You know, a lot of times you see them, ride around, not tear the car up, get ready for Sunday. But we saw a lot of racing, a lot of mixing it up, a lot of moving through the draft. A lot of teamwork, and that was the big thing I took away from it. You had your Fords and your Chevys and your Toyotas trying their best to team up, and we had a couple of races where, you had mostly Chevys in the first race and some Toyotas, and they were able to hook up at the end, and Bubba Wallace got the win. And then in the second race, you had your Fords teaming up, and we saw Austin Cindric win that in just a fabulous finish, a photo finish. I think that's what you're going to see on Sunday. It's going to be very difficult to get away from anybody. They're going to race in packs, I think, all day long, except for when they have to make some green flag pit stops. But I think then I think the field's going to come back together, and you're going to be trying to find your teammates, because getting a push is going to be critical to getting to the front and putting yourself in position. So I see this very much being a teammate and a manufacturer race. Ford's trying to get together, Chevy's, Toyotas, and it'll come down to whoever can make that move and be together at the end of the race.
William Byron, I was looking at practice 1. William Byron is leading or has led the practice round number 2. Chase Elliott, Ricky Stenhouse, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon. You put much into these practice speeds and numbers here a couple of days before the race?
No, not really. They're not trying to go out there and see how fast they're going. They're trying to get out there and make sure their car is handling and that everything is all right. And in fact, I didn't watch practice today, but I would be willing to bet that most of them didn't run that many laps. What you're trying to do is you're trying to hook up your teammate, see how your car handles in the draft, and kind of iron out any changes you might have made since the qualifying races on Thursday night. So it's not about speed in these practices. It's about figuring out how your car is going to handle with certain guys behind you. So some cars are going to run better with a certain car or a certain teammate behind them. We saw the other night, William Byron was really, really fast when he had, Chase Elliott behind him or somebody like that. And Cindric was really fast when he had Ryan Blaney behind him. So certain cars hook up better. So they're just working on those sorts of things, strategies and handling. Speed doesn't really mean a lot in this race. It's all about, maneuvering and putting your car in the right spot at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Owens in the fast lane with us for another season here on Sports Talk. Jeff, great to have you back on the program, and I'm glad you sort of led into this because I was curious about the speeds, and especially for a guy like Chase Briscoe. Was it important for him to go out and win the pole, or is it the pole maybe at Daytona the least important thing in all of racing?
Well, you're right on both accounts. It really doesn't mean anything in this race. However, for a guy like Chase Briscoe, who has just joined Joe Gibbs Racing, he's in a brand new car, brand new team, new sponsors, everything is new. That's a great momentum and confidence builder for that team, for them to go out there. And you see that a lot. You see new teams kind of rise to the occasion because they're putting everything they can into it. Not that the others aren't, but it kind of means a little bit more to them. So I think it was a big deal for him to start on the front row. That's great for his new team. That's great for his sponsors, and it's a big confidence boost for him. You saw him drop to the back of the field during the race because he didn't want to tear that car up, and then he just wound up going to the garage. And we've seen that before, and, I don't blame him. That's the way the rules are, and you want to have that fast car on the pole for the Daytona 500. So I think it was a big deal for him personally and for that team, but I don't think it means anything once the race starts.
Outside of the star power and maybe the nostalgic effects, what do you make of both Martin Truex and Jimmy Johnson qualifying to get into the race?
Yeah, I think that's great. Love to see both of those guys in there. And we saw Jimmy drive from the back to the front the other night. He didn't stay up there very long, but I think that might have been by design. But he drove that car right to the front with some drafting help with Eric Jones, his teammate. And Eric Jones stayed up there and almost won that race. So I think it's great for those guys. You got two guys who have basically retired, and they're coming back, biggest race of the year, and they're still going to be in that. And I think that's great, and I think it's great that they race their way in on speed. And I think it's great to have both those guys in this race.
Well, I say bring back Richard. And any of them that are still alive and can walk into the garage and get in the car, I say bring them back. Let them run.
If you can climb in the car, let them go. Yeah, they used to pick Mark Martin up and put him in the car because he had such a bad back. So we could do that. Put Mark back in the window of the car and let him go. So I think it's great for the sport. Biggest race of the year, you want your biggest stars in the race, and it's good to have some nostalgia like that as well.
Well, we thank you. Kent told me to tell you hello from over at USC today. So I'm passing
same
on.
here. I watched the game today, so very happy with that outcome.
passing on the word there. You have a great weekend. As always, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Friday.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you, pal.
See ya.
Jeff Owens in the Fast Lane. We'll be right back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. We're cloudy tonight with a low temperature dipping to 41. Tomorrow, look for mostly cloudy skies, some passing showers, the high temperature topping out at 54. Sunday, just ugly, especially the first half of the day. A 100% chance of rain, very gusty winds up to 35 miles per hour. The high is 65. Have a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting a fiery pileup at a tunnel on Interstate 80 in southwestern Wyoming killed at least 2 people, seriously injured at least 5 others, and shut down the highway. The crash involved an unknown number of trucks and other vehicles both inside and outside the tunnel at Green River. The Wyoming Highway Patrol says black smoke and exploding tires made getting inside difficult for rescuers. The Justice Department has asked a court to drop corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. The formal dismissal request came Friday after days of turmoil in the department. The acting U.S. Attorney in Manhattan, a veteran prosecutor working on the case, and several senior prosecutors in Washington quit in protest after a top Justice Department official directed prosecutors to end the case. This is SRN News.
I was thinking about the things that matter to me when it comes to calling the plumber. First, most of us call the plumber out of a need, often a crisis. So you want reliability. Then, we're in a vulnerable place already, so you want someone you can trust, someone who will be fair in their pricing and handle things professionally. These are some of the reasons I feel comfortable recommending Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, they've been out to my home. They've been out to my brother's home, too. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning did such a great job. And you know, maybe this might not matter as much to some people, but they're locally owned. A lot of these plumbing companies you've heard of used to be local, and now they're owned by big national or even international conglomerates. Working with a locally owned company matters. It keeps your pricing down, and the money stays local here in the community. Josh and his team at Franklin makes customer service their top priority. I trust them. You can too, especially during these vulnerable times. Online, it's franklinplumbing.sc.com or call them 799-2222. That's 799-2222.
If you step onto H&J Cattle Company's farm, you'll find third-generation farmers upholding the legacy. They embrace sustainability and take immense pride in their craft, raising cattle purely on nature's offerings without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. The result? Unmatched quality beef that's not just good, it's the best in South Carolina. Experience the distinct flavor of our finest registered Hereford and Wagyu beef. Visit us online at hdjcattle.co or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle CO.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We have an amazing Valentine's Day special this year. We're offering a slow roasted certified NSB prime rib dinner, served with 2 sides, choice of cookies such as chocolate chip, peanut butter, lemon blueberry, caramel apple cookies, and your choice of soft drink. Only $27.95 per person. So please come and enjoy a great Valentine's Day dinner at Flight Deck Restaurant, located at the Shops of Flight Deck in downtown Lexington. Thanks y'all and God bless.
Palmetto Citizens Credit Union wants to reward you for saving more of your hard-earned money, and they can't think of a better way to do that than with more cash. When you participate in Palmetto Citizens Save to Win program, every time you make a savings deposit of just $25, you'll be entered in monthly and quarterly prize drawings for a chance to win up to $5,000. All the money that piles up in your Save to Win account is yours to keep, along with the interest you earned. So there's never been a better time to get the ball rolling on your savings plan. With a Save to Win account, there's nothing to lose and everything to win. Open your 12-month Save to Win term certificate account and start saving today by visiting any of the Palmetto Citizens 14 branches across the Midlands, or go to palmettocitizens.org to learn more. Palmetto Citizens, proudly serving the Midlands since 1936. Account may be subject to penalty for early withdrawal. This credit union is federally insured by the NCUA.
4. Straight down the middle. It went straight down the middle. Then it started to hook just a wee bit. And that's when my caddy lost sight of it. That little white pellet has never been found to this day. But it went straight down the middle, like they say.
All right, it is time to talk golf. But let me give one more baseball score. I didn't mention this. Winthrop beat Merrimack 8-0 today to open up their season. Now, our attention to the other little white ball, smaller, but you can hit it a lot farther than you can hit a baseball, a golf ball. Hit a lot farther with a whole different launch angle and a whole different rate of speed. As we welcome in George Bryan III, Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps, brought to you by Tsunami Bar Sports. Welcome in, George. How are you?
Oh, couldn't be better. And that was fun this afternoon. Phil, I'll tell you, this game is very special. Right on 720 Crisp Drive, there's a brand new way to enjoy fellowship in this town. We got a 6-hole scramble course, and we played 6 holes, 12 minutes, lunch, hung out, 12 minutes of golf.
Awesome.
I mean,
awesome.
Bam,
and you played left-handed. You played left-handed and beat me playing left-handed.
That is wrong. I did not. I did get it over the
Robbie and George Gorge.
Yeah, I got it over the first hole water, which was about 8-foot carry, and I gave you my wedge, which was, I have to say, it was spiked. It had a little much loft on it, and you hit you a full shot right in the middle of the ditch.
Yeah,
so,
it got a little bit under that one. I was trying to back. What I was trying to do was make it hit and back up. I was trying to spin it. You know.
Yeah, and in the scramble, there are all kind of cool games you can play. Typically, the game is one club, and we hit a shot. If it doesn't, bottom line is we played in 12 minutes.
Yeah,
that was probably the best, and had a blast. So
and we got to breathe in that clean, fresh air, and you guys have done a great job of keeping the area cleaned out, where it's you don't have a lot of debris between the tee and the greens and all that. It's a wonderful little course. It's my new favorite course next to Salina. It's my new favorite course. Speaking of Salina, I guess we can talk about this because you guys have got some very important events. It's amazing what y'all have done in such a short amount of time. But why don't you fill everybody in on the big events you've got coming out there?
Well, the SoCon, we have the Women's Golf SoCon Championship and also have a U.S. Open local qualifier. So, one of the things the SCGA is right here in town, and they're involved. I mean, that's the governing body, the extension of the USGA, now part of the Carolinas Golf Association, and so they have to run and referee a number of events, and the Midlands, obviously, right here in the middle of the state. Well, now we have another championship golf course, and I think it'd be really fun to see how the players enjoyed it. Both, that'll be that's on the men's side, the U.S. Open local qualifier, and the women's SoCon championship. So that'll be in April.
Will it be set up much different for the two types of players? You have to set the course up differently?
Well, the women play about 82%, I think, of where the men will play, and It'll be stout both sides, for both women and the men. And I will tell you that the Open qualifier is only 18 holes, whereas the SoCon's a 54-hole championship. So in a 54-hole event, what's really a little bit sad is they took the locals from 36 to 18, but a 54-hole test is a better test, and I think the better players will end up making their way to the podium over 54 holes over just an 18-hole qualifier. But I'll tell you, it'll be really fun to see some of the best players in amateur and even professional golf come in and try their hand on Salina Golf Club.
All right, now, I've always wanted to play in a U.S. Open qualifier. So can I get maybe like a sponsor's exemption, like a Sports Talk sponsor's exemption into the field?
I think you'll need to go get a note from President Trump to get in on this one. That's about the only way I see that happening.
Come on.
I don't see. I mean, after today, I am impressed. You did beat me left-handed. That was solid.
Yeah, but what did I shoot?
left-handed.
I was like 6 or 7 over. I had one really
I was
bad hole.
impressed. Well, you hit some good shots.
It's a par 18. It's a par 18. 6 holes, par 18.
It's tough, but it's also fun.
Yeah.
And but I do think you'll need a note from the president to get in the Open qualifier. That's what I think, at least.
How do you, in all seriousness, how do you get in the Open qualifier?
I'm glad you asked that question, Phil. I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How do you get in the qualifier?
Go to the USGA.org, look at championship, download the application, or fill it out right there online, and your handicap needs to meet a certain standard. I would guess I hadn't looked at that app in a while, but it was somewhere between 0 and a 1 handicap before you're even eligible, or index, excuse me. So it's really based on skill level, which is pretty special. It truly is a U.S. Open.
Are you thinking about it?
Absolutely not.
No.
I'll go watch. I do enjoy. I'll be out observing and being an ambassador, but no, not a chance.
You'll get some high-level golfers, won't you? Maybe because like they're coming off. You got guys who are coming off a tournament, but maybe they don't have status to play in the U.S. Open. They have to go through the qualifying, and they might come to Salina. You might have some pretty recognizable names.
Oh, absolutely. You'll have a few PGA Tour veterans who won and they did lose their status. A number of Korn Ferry players. If you have certain status at the Korn Ferry level, you're exempt beyond locals. And if you have a PGA Tour card, you are exempt beyond locals. But there's still going to be a number of heavyweights. It is a lot of fun to watch. We'll be talking about the date. And I said April. I'm not sure if that's not May, early May. The SoCon is in April. And, yeah, as we get closer, we'll be talking about it. And there's absolutely no question that Salina is a championship track. It's a Lindell Young design. Greens rebuilt by the Salina agronomy staff with Wesley Bryan as a consultant around the greens, and they did a wonderful job. Absolutely wonderful.
It's gorgeous. We've got Sullivan Hooper standing by to join us, and Sully's keeping an eye on the college scene. But of course, Sully, he plays golf for Newberry College. Welcome in, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, Phil. Thank you.
You thinking about taking a shot at that local qualifying?
I don't know, man. I haven't played Salina yet. I don't know how difficult it is or how different it is from Indian River. But like George said, you got to have a certain handicap. So I've never played in a U.S. Open qualifier. You might have to have like a 0 to 1 handicap, like you said. So I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, give it a shot. You never know. You might catch lightning in a bottle and do something special. Let's catch up on what's happening out at the Genesis Invitational, which they're playing at Torrey Pines. Unfortunately, they had to move it because of the fires in L.A. Davis Thompson is leading After 2 rounds, he's 8 under par, 70-66. Here we go. Scotty Scheffler warming up as the temperature gets warmer, 70-67. He's 7 under. Denny McCarthy, 68 and 70. He's at 6 under. Rory McIlroy is at 4 under after a 72 and a 67. Ludwig Oberg also is at 4 under after a 74 and a 66. As far as any others we keep an eye on, Andrew Novak's going to make the cut. 2 under after a 71. Or is this a cutless event?
Yeah, there's no cut.
There is no cut.
Yes, sir. There's no cut.
There is.
No, there is a
Yes,
cut.
there is.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. It's pathetic.
Tell
This
us.
is another one of those things, the PGA Tour,
Oh, okay.
when you get a lot of smart people together
Mhm.
and they look about they're trying to do something special. Now, too much smart ain't necessarily a good thing. And when I look at this, I had a nice supper on Valentine's Day, and I looked and I went, they're going to cut like 8,
Yeah.
12 people.
Really, they're not.
I got nauseated.
Why are they Why are they doing this?
Like I said, you get too many smart people together, and it turns out to be not a smart thing.
I thought the signature events did not have cuts. That's why I was a little confused there at the start.
Well,
Yeah, me too.
And they added a very special feature. I got an idea. Why don't you just have, the 6 or 8 they choose to show on TV, and just let the others just pay the others to stay home. I mean, I don't even understand. It's one of the cool things about golf to start with was you only got paid if you made the cut and performed. Now they have these elevator events where everybody gets paid, even though those folks that missed the cut, they'll be raking in 50, 60 grand just to miss the cut. Yeah, it's wonky. Why not let them play? Let it roll out the way it should. Now you have enough for fans to watch. I don't know if you guys have been out to try to watch 40 or 50 players play, but it's nowhere near as fun as watching 70. And that's nowhere near as fun as watching 140, where you see players all over the golf course all day long. That's 150 acres out there.
Mm-hmm.
Why cut it down to 40 or 50 players? So you want to know how I feel about elevated event, cuts?
Yeah.
Are you ready to cut this segment and move on?
No, sir. That's good. Andrew Novak is 2 under. He's going to make the cut. He is the only one from South Carolina who's going to make it because Lucas Glover finished at +4. Jordan Spieth had a tough couple of days. He finished at +6. Let's see how many will make the cut. Looks like we'll have 54 make the cut. So 54 out of roughly 72. So they're cutting 18, if my math is right. They're cutting like 18.
That's hilarious. So
and I mean, looking at some of the guys that are going to miss the cut: Cameron Young, Billy Horschel, Victor Hovland's going to miss the cut. Yeah, interesting. I'm a little surprised.
Here's what it looks like. It's boiling down to me, and I mean, this is, again, you can tell I'm sour on it. Now it's a TV game, it's a money game, and you'll probably turn out at some point, and only certain people will be able to watch live, and they're going to. In fact, some of the stadium courses set up don't do justice to the folks that are just paying the gate fee to go watch. But 40 or 50 players out there playing, quite frankly, that's hard to watch. Not sure I'd be all that interested.
And they're only playing
spectator.
They're only playing the South Course. They're not using both courses, as far as I can tell. So I don't know if that's because of the small field, the signature event, and all. And the South Course is the better of the two. So they're going to.
However, it does beef up that TV coverage, and you got the stars out there. I tell you, Rory is on his game.
Mm-hmm. Scheffler too.
Yeah. And I guarantee it'll be a great finish. That's a great golf course. So,
all right,
it'll be fun, and I do enjoy watching the greatest players on great golf tracks.
All right, let me share this with you guys. This is from the SCGA. The 94th SCGA Amateur Championship is going to be at the Carolina Country Club. It says, due to unforeseen circumstances, SCGA Amateur Championship will now take place at the Carolina Country Club in Spartanburg, July 24 through 27. Let's see if there's anything else in here. Stepping in to host on short notice, the club has proven to be a world-class venue. Of course, we know that. It's great. It's a great track. This is where are they moving it from, Georgia? Was it at Camden Country Club previously? Where was it before?
I can't answer that.
Yeah.
It might have been Wood Creek. Does that sound right, in Columbia?
I don't. Are you aware of anything with this, Sully, about why
I don't
they're
know
moving?
why they would change it. I know that Country Club of Spartanburg, they host events all the time. I mean, they host the Horn Fair event the last couple of years, they and Thornblade. So, I mean, it's a proven track, and they can have tournaments there, but I don't know why they moved it there.
It's a Tom Jackson course. And for those who appreciate the actual designers of the, always like to find out the designer of a course, George, before I play it, so I can adjust, my my planning. Do you do that, Sully? Do you adjust your planning based on the course designer?
Not exactly, but it does make a difference, though. It really does. Like if you're playing a Donna Ross course or Alistair McKenzie course, those courses are different.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Hey, I love to find out. Those will be the ones I seek. Incidentally, you were on a Mike Ramsey course today at the Scramble. He designed it.
It's a beautiful design. It's a beautiful design. But I don't like one thing. I don't like teeing off over water. Okay, like I don't when I play golf. I don't want the first hole to have water or bunkers. I just want tee and green. And you guys set up the scramble. You got to tee off over a gorge with water. I lost a golf ball today, George, on a 6-hole scramble course.
That's noted.
Maybe you should drain that ditch. If you would drain that ditch, I could go get my golf ball.
That's wetlands. We're not messing around with that. That's an issue. But it was a lot of fun.
It was. Sully, let's ask Sully about the college scene. We saw South Carolina open their season with a fine showing. They played in Puerto Rico. They finished fourth, about 8 or 9 shots behind the winner, Purdue. Sully, what else you picked up on the college scene this week or over the weekend?
Well, I think that finish moved them up to 17th in the country. That's pretty big time for South Carolina. And Clemson's moved up a couple spots to 60th. College of Charleston is 37th in the country. I've got Wofford at 201. And then in the Division II, we've got USC Aiken. They're 14th in the country. They've always been a good program. They've had a couple national championships. Their next event will be hosted by Francis Marion at Wexford Country Club in Hilton Head. And then we got the Landers 21st in the country. So we've got a couple good teams in South Carolina, Division II and Division I. Looking forward to see what they do in the future.
What Newberry plays Division II?
Yes, sir. We're ranked currently. Yeah, we're ranked 79th right now.
Okay. When's y'all's next outing?
We'll play at Caledonia on the 24th, I believe.
George, I tell you what, and of course that's just on the men's side. The women's side, of course, South Carolina women in particular standing out. They're a top 5 program. You play college golf in this state, George, you're going to get to play some great layouts.
Oh, I mean, and we've got some of the best in the whole world, not just in the Southeast or in the country, but in the whole world. And yeah, if you have the chance to travel and go outside, if you mention where you're from, especially in golf circles, immediately, I mean, it can be anything from Hilton Head, Kiowa, Myrtle Beach, even, upstate where, I mean, they're all kind of great golf courses here. And South Carolina and North Carolina, again, just the best in the world. So you mentioned Francis Marion's they've got national championship in their pedigree, also limestone. So Anderson College was ranked number 1 for most of the year. A couple of years ago, Phil, I remember us talking about it. They had a phenomenal season, got to the final event and had a bad round or so. It didn't turn out, but we got a lot of great schools at every level, down to, let's see, Erskine even had some success, quite a bit of success in a national championship. I think on the girls' side, maybe. Sorry about that, Coach. I'm just having a brain cramp.
Understandable.
Coach Jason.
At your age, it can happen. Hey, George, before we wrap it up, we got about 3 minutes or so. We've got a new discount on our website for Tsunami Bar Sports and some other things that you guys are developing. Let's tell everybody about what you've got on the drawing board.
Well, I mean, the one we did today, and this will be temporary. We won't keep this up, but, hey, the technology is pretty amazing for a warm-up to get your body ready. The speed sticks, the mini stick, the multi-stick series, multi-stick light, the laginators, and if you go to tsunamibarsports.com and you plug in at checkout, GB10, you get 10% off. And that's GB10 for 10% off. And one of the cool things about the material, the technology, is it stimulates that central nervous system to help you dial in, feel, and touch the study of what we call suppleness. And that mind-body connection just paves the way to make your best swings ever. So if you're ready to mash that tater, go to tsunamibarsports.com, GB10, get you 10% off a laginator. So, hey, it was a whole lot of fun out there today. Phil, look forward to our next visit to the I told you we got a little program going. I'm going to beef up my left-handed game and try it on. And that's one of the cool things about golf is there's so many different ways to express yourself in this great game. And I think it was designed for fellowship and community. So some of the team formats upcoming in the future will be a family junior. We'll talk more about that. In fact, late April's when it kicks off through all the recreation centers in the area, Richland County, Lexington Recreation and Aging, and also Irmo Chapin. They will all support the family junior that kicks off late April. And the main course will be the Scramble. So that's a community family-based event. And so you can go to either of those websites and get more intel. And I got to tell you, this is speaking of community. I was out South Congaree eating lunch at Steve's Deli right there in the middle of town and ran into George, my buddy George, and he was commenting about this segment. And we got on the topic of some storytelling. And I got to tell you, there are a few folks that we've had on the show. In fact, Lou Miller, we'll get him back. I think the idea, and George didn't necessarily suggest it, but we got to own that topic, and we're going to have to bring some folks on that can really tell a story. So a couple comes to mind. Chip Prezioso, boy, he can tell a story. I'm going to try to get in touch with him, and saw him a couple months ago. And then I'll tell you who tells the best one, Freddie Wadsworth. Now, I don't know if we can get him on the radio, but it'd be really cool. I think I'm going to take a swing at that. There's nobody that can tell a golf story like Freddie Wadsworth, not that I've heard. Hap Lathrop is in a league all by himself. He might be the best ever. I may try to get in touch with them. But thank you, George, for that idea. I call him George Diesel. This guy is a fan of the segment that we have and your show, Phil. So those are some ideas upcoming in the future. And, again, our sponsor, Tsunami Bar Sports, we were getting together today to talk about the design. The company's expanded. We have a design build division where you can come in your home and build your own putting lab, your own golf simulator. I hear my music. More later. Till next time, team high, shoot 'em low. Thank you, Sully. Enjoyed it today, Phil.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Sully. By the way, the amateur last year was played at the Country Club in Charleston. And thank you, Chris Bergen. Have a great weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You
Thank
guys do the same.
Josh. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a great weekend, everybody.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From